Good morning, good evening, and welcome to this week's chat about stuff. Let's narrow that down. So last week we had a big, I did a walkthrough tutorial of some of the new tube spanner features and I botched it, and it actually was a me issue. So I wanted to have a quick run through of the one very important thing that I forgot to do, which is why it wasn't working. And it was a me thing. It was not a their system thing. It was a me thing. My brain isn't where it should be to be running tutorials. It takes all that extra brain power. And I decided to do it anyway. I thought, no, I'll get back on the horse. And I kind of didn't get back up on the horse, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So I do want to go through and show you that one thing that will just be the absolute changer as to making those social bios work. So it was a me thing. It wasn't a system thing. And well, it's how do I put this? It's a little bit of both, but mostly me. So thank you so much, Livestream Consultants, for helping with the chat commands this morning. That was also a me thing. I had thought I'd logged into the system and I hadn't. And when we were doing the chat commands, they were appearing over here on the social stream dashboard, but they were not working in the YouTube dashboard. And I'm like, why isn't it connecting? I had logged in. I must have done something and it logged me out. So I had to log back in again. I have not actually, while I have downloaded the new Social Stream Ninja, I believe I'm running with the previous version because I just wasn't ready. I couldn't cope with the new thing. Okay. I couldn't deal with the new thing. Now I do have a little bit of music playing in the background. Let me know if it's too loud or if you can't even hear it, things like that. I prefer to err on the side of not hearing it. I just sort of I can see the little thing moving, but that's about it. So let me know in the chat, how have you been going this week? What content have you put out? Have you made a live stream? Let me know in the chat what you're up to, what you're doing. I've been doing lots and lots of my my day job. That's the best way to describe that. Trying to get more posts out onto social media. I really want to get some more posts on LinkedIn. So I may have accidentally posted twice on LinkedIn today. Whoops. One of them was the automatic, not automatic, but one of the pre-scheduled posts. And then because I was like, typing out this other thing and having a bit of a rant about something as I want to do. So if you are over on LinkedIn, please go and check that out. I had a little bit of a rant about true fans. I love being in fandoms and also being part of online communities of creators, YouTube creators, as well as yarn craft designers, all of these really creative and clever people. I love to follow what they're doing, but unfortunately, there are those bottom feeders out there in the world who try to make themselves be someone else, usually by pretending to be this other creator and creating fake groups and creating, and just stealing the content, like just blatantly downloading it off YouTube, uploading it into their Facebook group, calling it their own, responding as the person. And it just does my head in. And it's the same thing in the yarn craft communities. There's entire YouTube videos around this where designers are finding themselves blocked from websites, and then when they get a friend who's in another country to go and check it, piles of their designs that are not free designs are being placed on these websites. And then what they'll do is they're very clever about how they're doing it. They'll go and get a whole pile of designers from one country and then geo-block that country so those designers can't see it. And it's just awful. And I'm seeing so much of this across so many sort of genres and types of content that are being stolen that I had to have a little rant, a little stop being a thief is basically the theme of it. If this is you, stop it. If it's not you and you're a fan, don't join these things. Let the original person know. John Lacey says, people can be awful. I'm not really sure what to tell you. Yes, they can. People can be totally awful. All right. Amazing yacht destinations. Great to see you here. Leanne, I did just bump the music up a little smidgy dash. I don't want to deafen people. It's early in the morning here on a Monday, and we've got the full creator mix list cranking. So there's the not just the calm stuff that we play sometimes over at the Fiberific channel, but it's the whole lot. So some of it's a bit more impacting. Livestream Consultants is saying good morning to everybody. Hey, how are you going? John says, I did a replay of almost 9 hours of former shows the previous week because I had a cold and lost my voice. And this week I came back to my lowest numbers in years. Joyful. Oh, no. Oh, and I hope you're feeling better as well. I've been trying to battle a cold. Like, I can feel it. And then there's days where I can't beat it. And I just have to rest more. And then there's days where I'm like, no, I could work through this. It's not just physically draining, it's mentally draining. Home Rapper Repair says, I'm recovering from a surgery this week. If I record this week, it will be a no heavy lifting allowed. I think maybe you could not record and just give your body the time that it needs to heal. I hope you're doing all right. I really do. Lots of chat with each other. That's how we have all the clone audio interfaces and microphones and cameras. I know. It's awful. Doug says, I had to wrestle my washing machine right before the stream. Yeah, and sometimes the washing machines win. Did the washing machine win this time, Doug, or did you win? Because, can't be certain about these things. But yeah, so I've been... One of the tasks that I'm doing for one of these creators that I'm working for is going through their copyright stuff and doing takedown notices. And it's just the gall of some people. Oh, it's working? You won? Foot? Yeah, the gall of some people out there who blatantly steal other people's content. If you are on YouTube and you do have access, so I think you have to be in YPP, correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, but if you're in the YouTube Partner Program, you also have access to the content management system. Go and double check that no one is stealing your content. Now, there's those people who go and grab a little bit of it and they'll do something around it and they'll just have like a little bit. I got no issues with those people. My issue is with the people that just download like 99% of it and then re-uploading it, thinking that because they trimmed off the first little bit or they removed a section in the middle, then they clean. Oh, I edited it. No, you didn't. You trimmed it to try and get around these systems, but these systems are smarter than you. So yeah, so go and look and go and double check that you are not being like ripped off, because the no copyright infringement intended. I know all those people, there's those people out there that will literally steal someone's Instagram post and then write no copyright infringement intended. And they think that is in some way going to protect them. No, it's not. Or tagging someone and going, hey, I've used your content. Thanks for letting us use it. And this person had no idea that they were going to use the content. They don't even know who they are. Like, you can't just go and copy and paste someone else's content without approval, without, like, have a conversation, people. Oh my gosh. All right. I agree with Livestream Consultants. Don't lift anything heavier than a cup of coffee. Oh, yep, absolutely. Yep. My dad's actually just had a surgery in the last couple of weeks, and my brother's staying with him because he is on a no lifting thing as well. And funny story, they went to the shop and my dad was like, oh, I'm just going to go and get us a bacon and egg burger for breakfast. And my brother was like, okay, grab me one too. So we figured Dad's going to carry two, buns with bacon and egg on it and a bit of sauce. nothing too dramatic. Turns around, he's moved the car to park in front of the store. Turns around, here comes my dad with like a gallon of like a 4-liter bottle of water and bags of groceries and the burgers, and my brother's just running at him like, Dad, what are you doing? He goes, oh, it was on special, I had to grab it. And you're just like, oh my gosh, it just didn't even think about it, you know? It's just one of those things. But please think before you do. And I'm the worst for not thinking before I do, so don't be me. Don't be Chantelle. So, keep it down to a 12-ounce cup, no 24-ounce tumblers. I love dad stories. I could see me trying to get away with that. Look, I could absolutely see you trying to get away with that. And it was just like, he didn't even think. It was like a no biggie. And it was just like, you know, and I was like, why is Dad even buying water? And apparently my dad doesn't like the taste of his tap water. So he always buys water. And I had no idea that he bought drinking water all these years. Anyway, because my dad is the bargain hunter. So buying water to me seems odd. Anyway, already have done lifted the cups of coffee. Excellent. Excellent. All right. So I want to jump over to StreamYard and rectify. I mean, it probably is going to not rectify, but I'm going to rectify in my brain the total schmozzle that I made of last week. All right. So I'm just going to be having a look at the social bio pages. And did I say something else? I do mean Tube Spanner. There's so many tube things that I do get them mixed up. Oh, now I don't even know. Tube Spanner. I'm going to Tube Spanner right now. So I'm just going to jump over to the Tube Spanner screen share page. Let me just do that. All right. Oh, I said StreamYard. Oh my gosh. I mean, oh, it's not, it didn't even have anything tubey in it. I had no excuses. Oh, goodness me. I need more coffee. Alrighty, so are we ready to work out what it is that Chantelle did wrong last week? Ready? Tube, pod, or stream in the title. It does. No tubes present. Absolutely. I do need more coffee. Alrighty. Let's go over here to the new social bio page. Let's create, because I do have access to 5 on my Max account, so I'm okay making another one. So let's go, let's not stuff this one. Is going to be the title. Let's make our title green. And then I'm going to have a subtitle of good luck with that. Lol. Make that red. And this is where we add in the important blurby things. Okay, we'll make the body color white. See this section here, this bit right here, where it says page name with the little red star, right? Page name. We actually have to name the file that we're saving to. Shocking, I know. I'm so shocked. Chantelle 3, third try. Okay, and the thing to remember in here is, I think I have to have it. Yeah, so there's no special characters, no symbols, and no spaces. Okay, so you need to make sure that you're not doing anything along those lines. Am I the only one who can't seem to just caps lock the first letter and I have to caps lock the first 2 letters, or am I just special that way? Chantelle, try again. All right, so now that we've done that, we've got our title of our page. So let's click the preview here. So let's not stuff. I left this title, but that's all right. So let's not stuff it up. Good luck with that. And this is where the important blurby things go. All right, so now we have added the page name. That's the thing I missed last week. This page name, I skipped over it. But the thing is, and I've talked to Tube Spanner, is it has a red star. And usually if something has a red star, it won't let you move on to the next page. They're checking into why it was letting me move on to the next page because it shouldn't have. Okay, so now we're going to have a different background color. We're going to go with, let's go with, what have we got here? We've got orange there, so let's go with blue. We'll go a lightish. Oh, there we go. It's a purpley blue. Let's do that. Let's not be precious. Actually, let's just color pick. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to color pick. Not my face. I want that green background. There we go. Color pick the green background. There we go. And preview that. There we go. And then we click next. And then we can add in all our links like we did last time, get all those links in there. But then when we click save, right? I'm not going to go through all the ins and outs, but see how when we clicked save that time, it sent us back to our social bio pages. And there is the one that we just made. So then we can go and view that. So this is what it would look like on desktop. And if I had any links, they'd appear here. So isn't it miraculous? Isn't it miraculous that when you actually add in the file name, it has got something to save to? And all your hard work is saved. So don't forget to add in that name first. That is the big thing that I missed. And it apparently, according to Danielle at Tube Spanner, I was chatting with her after the stream, it shouldn't have let me go on to the next page without adding that file name, but it did. And I forgot to put the file name in because I was a little bit frazzled, and I shouldn't have been frazzled, but I was, and I didn't think to add it in. So there you go. And then that makes it just so much easier. So this is what they look like when you actually put some work into one. And then back to the screen share. There we go. This is what one looks like if you actually put some work into it. So this is my Fiberific one. So it's got like all my links. And then at the bottom, because I have the two brands, I want to say, so I have Fiberific and then I have the Chantelle Hills one. Or here I was calling it the ins and outs of live streaming because that's where I was going with first of all. So I should probably change that. But that was my connection between the two. So right at the bottom of both. So my Chantelle Hills one has Fiberific at the bottom and versus. Yeah, live stream consultants, I agree. There was no errors. There was nothing. It wasn't telling me I'd missed something. It wasn't telling me it couldn't write to it. I got no pop-ups, nothing. So they're looking into why that happened because that shouldn't have happened either. So it was, while I say it was my fault for not adding in that title, which I absolutely should have, it's also important to that they're having a little look at their end to work out why it actually allowed it to happen. So yeah, just lots of, they're tweaking so many things over at Tube Spanner right now. If you haven't had a look in there, like, keep checking back every couple of weeks. There's a whole list of stuff that are being added in. So yeah, it was just absolutely, it was a me thing. We were joking, like my husband a couple of weeks ago, was talking about how he had a picnic error and I was like, I've heard it, but I don't remember what it was. And then he goes, it's the person in the chair, not in the computer. And I was like, oh, well, and then ever since he mentioned it, I have done so many picnic errors that it is now part of my everyday vernacular. Because that was the person in chair issue. That was not their issue. You need to have a light bulb in the lamp to get the switch to do something. I know, right? I was the real world alpha tester there. Yeah, look, it was because when I very first did the first two that I have, the Fiberific and the Chantelle Hills, which I made them a little while back. I didn't actually I made them so long ago I don't remember the processes I went through, and all the screens have changed. It's a lot more a lot more logical, a lot more conducive. Like they've made like you couldn't do, like to go and check it, to go and preview it, you would actually have to go out of it, save, go out, and then go into what it would look like. There was no preview screen. So now that's there as well, which is just so much better. I really like a lot of the changes that they're making. So super happy with how it's going. Big issue was me. A Yogi error. Yeah. And like when I stuff something up, I got to share it with you guys. I can't be all like, oh, I don't know what happened. I know exactly what happened. I didn't do the thing. And so I have to share that. Not big on picnics, rather have a barbecue steak. See, do you guys have the picnic chocolate bars? Because I like those. They're good. I'll have one of them. It's like think of it like a wafer middle wrapped in caramel, then rolled into peanuts, and then dipped in chocolate. Very good. So from that experience, what new advice do you have for those of us that might go live training a bit? What new advice do you have for those of us that might go live training a bit of software? Don't assume that just because you've done it before means you can do it while you're live. That's one big thing. Definitely run, because what I'd done is I'd run through it a couple of times over the couple of days beforehand, but I hadn't actually, and I'd removed them. So I had removed my tests, so I had successful tests. But I think that just remembering that when you are live, sometimes you forget things. So maybe if you need them, write out full notes. Like when I'm training staff, I create these files that are like every single click, every single button press, they go in there. I call it my memory folder, and it's like if all I could remember was how to get to my job, then that would be how to do that. Like I said, would a script or checklist be handy? Look, it might be. I've got a feeling that for me, even if I had have had a checklist, because I'm literally running through the software, I probably wouldn't have looked at it, or at least not much. So I don't know. You're going to have to, each person's going to need to work out what they need to do for themselves. But I would highly recommend testing. But in saying that, I did test. I did have two extra, like I had created 2 whole profiles. And just in the moment while I was live, I just forgot that one field, and it was just a really important field. But their system also let me go on without clicking that field. So it's a bit of both on that one. Yeah, Cadbury picnics, right? Sounds like a chocolate-covered payday bar. I don't know what that is, but that sounds interesting. John, I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about you not being able to eat sugar, and then I mentioned picnics, because that's basically, oh look, here's some sugar dipped in some sugar with some sugar dipped on the outside of it. Also, here's a peanut. So if you're allergic to peanuts and can't have sugar, then please don't even try a picnic. John says, it's super tricky because I want to do all the steps to know they're right, but once I've done them, I have to uninstall the OBS plugin to start from scratch for the demo. Yeah, and that's kind of what happened with me, is I'd filled all 5 of my options, so I deleted out the 3 that I'd done for the testing to go back and test from scratch. I think Russell, sometimes we just have to accept that we're human and we make mistakes. And I've come back the following week explaining what's happened. I don't know if I want people to come to me thinking I know everything and I'm perfect. I'm not that person. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But I think if that's what you're trying to be, or if that's, or somewhere in between, then you need to sit down and work out what you need to do for yourself. Let's have a look here. At diner restaurants now, you can't even order waffles that don't have huge sugar chunks inside of the batter. Oh, really? I know that I went to a cafe and I ordered like what I thought was savory crepes with it had like scrambled eggs and bacon, like crumbled bacon in the scrambled eggs, and it was very delicious. And they wrap it in a couple of crepes. The crepes are sweet. So they've got like a mix. They're not making the batters themselves. Or they're making a bulk batter, but using it for sweet or savory, and it's the only crepe batter that they've got. So they're not making up a fresh batter for everybody, or they're not making up a sugar-free, like a sugarless batter or anything like that. But yeah, I've only ever really had waffles a couple of times, so I don't really know a lot about. I know I like them. My question is, are waffles supposed to be crunchy or soft? I had both, and I don't know which one was right. So, here we go. I used to eat out a lot, but then I couldn't, so I would go out for coffee. Then a global pandemic happened, so I became a recluse. Okay. Yeah, I would say that since the pandemic, I spend a lot more time at home than I used to. I mean, I was always pretty much a homebody, but now I'm like, now for me to go out, it really has to be like, there's a reason. Here we go. Oh, no, Russell's got a comment here. Sometimes I'm self-conscious, feeling the need to appear as the expert in my field. Good that you can take it in your stride. Yeah, I think, like for me, I have to think about like which experts resonate for me. And it's usually those that are down to earth, make mistakes just like I do. I feel like I can connect better with those ones. There's definitely that, you know, if I'm looking for a surgical expert in their field, I'm really hoping that they don't make mistakes on me. You know, so I think it depends on like what kind of content you're making and to what degree did you screw it up. Like I ended that stream last week feeling pretty awful about like just everything just being not what I wanted. And then I sort of had to I went and sat outside for a little bit in the sunlight and took a deep breath, and then I got some DMs and messages like telling me what I'd done wrong. And then I came in, I sat down and I walked through it again. And yeah, it's just, I'm not the expert in this field. And I know I'm not the expert in this field, but I'm somebody who has made a lot of mistakes. And that's kind of where I come at this from. And I think we all have to have a think of where we are in our fields and what it is that we want to be seen as. And I'm not the expert. I'm just somebody who's made a lot of mistakes. And if I can help you not make those mistakes so you can get ahead faster, I will help in every way I can. But I'm not the expert. I've just done it a lot and made a lot of mistakes. Let's have a look here. I have a waffle maker and I make almost egg meal savory keto ones. I actually have a waffle maker, but I've only ever put like a waffle pre-made, like a shake and mix waffle batter in it. I've never made one from scratch, and I prefer from scratch for things like pancakes and pikelets and stuff like that. So I would love some good waffle recipes. Oh, hang on a sec. I'm in a committed relationship with my home espresso machine. Me too. John, like I know you don't go out very much, but do you ever get annoyed that when you go out and you pay for coffee and it's worse than what you could make yourself at home? I get so annoyed. Livestream Consultants has said that he sent me a photo of the candy bar on Instagram. So let me just pause. Actually, you know what? A chocolate covered payday looks quite similar to a Cadbury's picnic, except you've got, it looks like a soft center of some description. Ours is literally a long piece of like a couple of layers of chocolate wafer. Oh, well, vanilla wafer. I think I don't know what's in the layers, but yes, almond meal, not almost meal. Sorry. Home Rapid Repair says, I love experts that are still friendly and approachable, like Nick Nimmin. Absolutely. Absolutely. The problem is some of my most popular content has some massive mistakes, and I've redone one tutorial 3 times, but the original still gets the views. Yeah, look, I personally don't see a problem with making mistakes, especially, John, with the kind of content you're making and the kind of content I'm making, where we're testing things live. Because life happens, stuff happens where we don't have as much control, and we do have to control our face. Like, oh, this isn't working. Oh my god. Oh, isn't that exciting? And inside you're like, ah, and so like, why isn't this working? So yeah, I don't know. Livestream consultant says, if we can't flub it up live in front of all our fans, why are we even on YouTube? Yep. Oh. But some people like the know-it-all experts that can't be rude, but their viewers are probably rude as well. Oh, that can be rude, but their viewers are probably rude as well. Look, what I think it is I think that there is a huge spectrum of gurus and creators and educators, right? And I think just like I'm going to use a knitting needle analogy. Everyone sit down. There are hundreds of brands of knitting needles out there. They all do the exact same thing. They all turn balls of yarn into stitches, into garments, right? Depending on the user. But each user likes the feel and different things about the different knitting needle sets, right? Or the different knitting needle brands. It's the same thing here. There is a huge spectrum of creator educators, gurus, whatever you want to call them. I don't like the term guru, but you know what I mean. And different creators are going to resonate with the different educators. And you need to find the educator that resonates with you. And you may need to go through a few. You may need to watch a few and see how you go from there. So, yeah. That's what I would say about that. Like, just because someone's not for me doesn't mean that someone is not for you. Everyone needs to check it out. John says, I would spend at least $15 a day on coffee from cafes, and then I get a kilo of coffee beans for that price. My kilo of coffee beans is $40. Where are you getting kilos of coffee beans for $15? Oh, I need to know. Mine are $40. I like mine. I'm happy to pay $40 for mine, but I'm very curious to know where you're getting $15 coffee beans from. And that's another one. The software changes the user interface and it doesn't look like that anymore. That happens as well. And like some softwares, like Social Stream Ninja is one, where they're constantly updating it and keeping on top of it and adding things to it, which is awesome. But it does change the user interface. And so you can go from yesterday it was fine to today not fine. This morning I downloaded the new version of Social Stream Ninja, but I actually decided to run with my old version. I actually keep both. Like, I don't overwrite one. I keep the other one. And so, yeah, I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to risk using it. So if we know it's just fine to fumble, why do we get so mad at ourselves when we do? I don't know the answer to that. I would also like to know the answer to that. I don't know the answer because I'm with you on that. I mean, obviously, I get mad at myself. Frustrated. I get frustrated with myself and disappointed in myself that I didn't do better for you guys. And that's where I get upset, is that I get so frustrated that I just didn't do it right and I didn't do it as well as I wanted. And for me, sort of it's been a long journey of just pushing past that, of just going, you know what? I still did it. It wasn't perfect. I did screw it up. I made an absolute meal of it, but I still turned up, and I still turned up the following week when I was embarrassed by it. And I think that for me is a win. I don't know what's a win for you in that regard. We all have to sit down and think about these things for ourselves. And I know it sounds a little bit woo and a little bit amby-pamby and a little bit on the fence, and I don't have a hard and fast rule for everybody. I don't even have hard and fast rules for me. So I just think especially when we're going live, we have to give ourselves a little bit of grace. We have to give ourselves the opportunity to stuff it up, because what else happens when we stuff things up? Sometimes we can make something magical. What if me stuffing it up, right? Like I absolutely stuffed it up. What happens if me stuffing it up made somebody else who they'd stuffed it up, who thought it was them, realize it wasn't just them, something wasn't clear, and then they've gone back and tried again rather than give up? That to me would be a win. So, if I can make people feel not alone in all their stuff ups, I'm down there in the trenches stuffing up left, right, and center. So, I don't know. It's gonna come down to each of us and how we think about things and how we process things and how we move on from things. But it is definitely something you need to think about as a creator. Like, if you screw something up, does that mean you can't do it next time, or will you just come out of the gates and fix it, or will you just move on like it never happened? Like, there's lots and lots of things that you can do to move on. So work out which one works for you. Livestream Consultant says, I absolutely love watching Level Up with Mike Newman because he flubs everything up. Script, enunciation, forgetting to plug in the mic he's reviewing. It's 100% real and edits very little out. Yeah. Russell says, I think it's a win when you get to the point that it doesn't bother you. If it makes you mad, it seems like you're still harboring the idea that we should be perfect. I think, I didn't get so much mad as I was disappointed. And I was a little bit embarrassed. Because while I'm not, in my brain, I'm not the best at this. I am not the person at the top of the field or anything like that. But I'm still a human person with ego is really what it comes down to. I don't want to mess things up, and I want them to be as good as possible. But I also have to be able to move on from that. So I think I'm finding that middle ground where I need a little moment afterwards and then get on to the next one. And if I do need to go back and publicly, like I have today, show how it's supposed to have been done, then do that as well. And don't be embarrassed to do it, and just fix it and move on, because that's how I learn. I'm a make mistakes, learn how to fix it, stand back up, dust myself off and move on person. But everyone's a little bit different. John says you've got to fumble to learn to improve. I think so. I think, like, there was this analogy that I was given when I was way back at high school. So it's very old. Which is because I struggled through high school. I'm not a natural book learner. I'm a hands-on learner. So any of the subjects that were hands-on, I did a lot better in than, like, say, business principles or, accounting subjects and things like that. I still got through them and I still learnt them, but it was so much harder to sit down and just do all that work. And I would still pass and all that sort of stuff, but it would take a lot of effort. And I was talking to my guidance counselor about it, and she said this one thing to me. She goes, Chantelle, whatever it is that you go on to do, you know how to work through the mud to get it done. Some of these other students who've breezed through are going to, whether they're going to university or whatever it is that they're doing, they're actually going to hit a wall and wonder why it's not so easy anymore. For you, it was never easy. You've always had to trudge through the mud. Some of these people have just floated over, gotten their A's, and they're going to hit university and realize, oh my gosh, what's going on? And I caught up with people a few years later, some of those people that really did seem to just breeze through high school, and they did talk about how hard university was compared to high school. And so it really just made me think, we all learn things differently. We all have our own brain and our own heart and our own feelings, and however it is that we deal with things, as long as we're okay with it as an individual person and it's not affecting other people, then it's just move on to the next thing. And so I just think that when it comes to messing up in a live stream, laugh about it. You guys here made it so much better than if I had like, if I was in a full workshop situation where people had paid to be there, and that's a little bit different, at least in my brain. I should be the person who knows how to run through this if I'm in a paid workshop. But, you know, even still then, stuff happens, you know, even still in the paid, you know, where you've run through it 100 times, you may be running through the same workshop 100 times. I've taught hands-on workshops where I had 0 problems for the first 10 workshops, and then all of a sudden there's a problem. And we just have to be able to dust ourselves off and move on. That's it. Pick yourself up and keep going. I think that is the lesson to learn here. We're allowed to fall down. We're allowed to make mistakes. But don't give up. Just dust yourself off and go again. That's how. There's a song, you can look it up. And that's the song that always comes into my head when I think of dust yourself off and try again. Let's have a look here. John says, that live is done. How are we going to do the next one? That's what I like to tell myself, whether it went well or badly. And that's true, isn't it? Because you get off a live stream, and even if that live stream was 100% A1 awesome, you still got the next one you've got to prepare for. So absolutely. Yeah. And we probably are too close to our own work to be objective. I know I am, for sure. Absolutely. Livestream consultant says, nothing to be embarrassed about in front of us. We screw the pooch all the time. Crow tastes great with some barbecue sauce. Doug says, even ChatGPT gets it wrong. Oh my gosh. I was running through some research in ChatGPT, and I'd put together like a whole file of data for it, right? And I've uploaded it, and I'm like, using this data, you know, I want this, and this. And it just made stuff up that wasn't in there. And like, because I wrote all the data, I'm like, where did you even get that from? What, like, you know, that's not true. How, you know, please use the data. And I had to have like 3 goes before it went, fine, I'll use the data you've given me. Oh, you mudslinger, you Chantelle. You were just a pro mud wrestler from the early days. That's it. That's the song. Yeah. Yeah. I googled Doug the pug, and the AI summary told me that the dog had died, and then the first post underneath it says the dog is alive, and I'm more confused than ever. I know. Like, this is the thing, right? This is the thing. We can't trust it. We can't trust. Look, I'm all for using the tools. I love the tools. I like getting it. I'm not a great writer, and I like getting it to polish things and you know, and I'll ask it to, like, I've written a thing. I'll be like, have another run at this, and let me know where I screwed it up. And sometimes it's nearly identical, and then sometimes it's like so much better. And sometimes I read it and just go, what on earth, and delete. No, that one, try again. You can dust yourself off and try again too, like AI, because sometimes you're just like, that is not what I was after. But yeah, so everything makes mistakes. It's how we learn. It's how we grow. It'd be nicer if I didn't make them quite so publicly, but you know, it's life as well. I've seen massive creators have issues, and you know, they just dust themselves off and try again as well. So, you know, you've got Nick and Dee who will be in the middle of a live stream, and all of a sudden they lose everything. They lose all their power. They lose everything. And they don't just go, oh my God, no, this isn't, you know. If they can, they jump back in and try again, even just on their phones, you know. It just depends on I think for some people, it's like they think of it as the universe told me no. And I'm like, well, I grew up with the universe telling me no on everything, so that would mean I would have nothing. So no to that. Oh, I know. Dee frequently has his mic off. Yeah. Yeah, he was talking about it, I think it was this weekend or last weekend. And he's like, come in, like he was talking. And it turns out that he turns it off so he can eat. Like when the camera's on Nick, he secretly eats and then forgets to turn it back on. Yeah, the show must go on. Absolutely. And look, I'm going to be really honest. I think part of this for me comes from my background in live theatre. Like, I wasn't on stage. I was running lights and sound for stage productions. You can't just go, oh, well, someone flubbed their lines. That's the end of the show. Everybody get out. No money back for you. Bye-bye. No, everything has to just go on. Everything has to just keep going. I've had to run entire productions manually because there was a glitch in our system that wasn't running all our macros in order. And so I literally had to set up the next scene manually and then wait and then hit the button and go and then quickly start setting up the next scene. Sometimes stuff happens. I was a stagehand for a long time, and if a piece of furniture broke, we would have to like fix it backstage without hammers because you weren't allowed to make noise. No hammers, no drills. Gaff tape is amazing. I just want to say that right now. You can actually gaff legs back onto a table with gaff tape. But yeah, it's not permanently, and I wouldn't sit on the table, but you know, you can make things work well enough and keep going. Livestream consultant says, all I will use AI for is to change the grade level of my writing, as I tend to write way above most people's heads. I think they should all just catch up with me, slackers. I am quite often told, even in my own home, that why do I use such big words? Why can't you just use the same words everyone else uses? And I'm like, I worked really hard to learn these words. I deserve to use them. Content creation can be super hard, and sometimes little setbacks feel huge. Yeah, and it also depends on how you're feeling on the day as well. Like I've had some pretty ick weeks the last few weeks, and little things really are setting me back a lot. So yeah, Livestream consultant says, macros, we had to switch the light spots by hand back in my high school days. Yeah, we had so for little productions we had a manual board, but for big productions we would actually hire in a specialized board, and we'd sit down and be run through how to use it. And especially if we were going to be doing night after night after night for weeks. So yeah, I know, inconceivable. I love that. Oh, but yeah, so this is where I've been this week. I've been trying to I've been having chats with Danielle about some of the things happening on Tube Spanner. She let me know the other day that they were implementing some of the things that I'd suggested. So we'll see how they come in the future rollouts. Or she didn't tell me which things either. So I'll be just as surprised as everybody else. So that's pretty cool that we get to be part of that. At least I think it's pretty cool. I mean, it may not be cool. I think it's cool. And yeah, just sort of, sometimes there's glitches, you know. There's nothing you can do about a glitch. You just have to keep moving or work around it. That's the other big one. Sometimes you just have to work around that glitch. I mean, yeah, it's just how, like if something happened, what's your go-to solve? Say something happens with your technical equipment or your power or something like that. What is it that you would do? Like, would you just be like, oh, well, I've got no power, therefore I can't do it? See, I don't know what that word is, Russell. Don't know what that one is, but I'm going to look it up and I'm going to learn it. But I don't know what it is. John says you should edit out that bit of the stream and upload it as a VOD, Tube Spanner traps for new players. Yep. I mean, that's an option. I would like to see Tube Spanner fix it, and make sure that nobody else falls into that trap. But we'll see. That, like, sometimes there's like some videos and stuff that I think I'm gonna make, and then like there's a video for moderators that I would love to make, and it's around how managing moderators can actually make someone a moderator, right? And apparently they're not supposed to be able to, except I know a workaround that means that they can. And should I make that video? I don't know if I should. I've put my feelers out to YouTube. I've heard nothing back. I can go in as a managing moderator and make mods. But should I really do that? Probably not. John says, I did a live to nobody. I listened to the recording and I'd been muted the entire time. Normally I'd sulk, but I did it again an hour later and it was better and I had live viewers that time. Oh, that is awesome. I'm so glad that you've redid it again. I'm so glad that you redid it again. I did not read the calculus book front to back for nothing, or the quantum physics papers just to tell others it's tiny and makes things move faster. Right, yeah. Doug says, last night I was trying to recreate Nick's channel banner Chrome extension, and I have zero coding knowledge for Chrome extensions. Did it work? Did it work? Because I'm very curious. I would like access to that tool. Given to or characterized by the use of long words. Oh, that's hilarious. I don't know the meaning of the word that means that I use the long words. That's gold. That's absolute gold. I'll have to. Yeah, I just get called something else. that's less nice sounding. I want to be able to start a poll as managing mud. Oh, right. How good would that be for creators if they're live, especially if they've got a big audience or a very active chat, and go, hey, Doug, can you set up a poll that's this, and this? And then you're like, no problem, set the poll up, run the poll, you know? And then the streamer could end the poll or ask you to end the poll, you know, like, yeah, I know, it's ironic, right? That's hilarious. That is hilarious. But yes, it is funny. I'm gonna have to go in and look into that one. But yeah, I would love to be able to add a poll as a managing mod. I don't know if managing moderators should be able to add other moderators. I suppose it depends. Sorry about that. Just trying to get through these things. But yeah, I don't know if a managing moderator should be able to have, should be able to add mods. But in saying that, I think it would depend on the relationship you have with the creator. Thank you. I definitely needed water. And you know, it would depend on the relationship that you have with the creator. Now, you know, just in the last few weeks, we've had someone jump into one of Nick's streams just like saying, hey, make me a mod, after they had literally just been timed out for spamming the chat. And you're just like, mate, like, this is not how we do things here. And I'm sort of sitting there thinking, and I'm trying really nice, to describe it nicely. It turns out he was a kid, but, and it was just really like, you know, oh, what about this? What about this? What about, and you just sort of like, the answer is no. And no is an answer. No is a complete sentence. But yeah. As a managing moderator, you can set up a poll. Just duck, as it might smack you in the head if it's not anchored. Oh my goodness. That's awful. That's awful. I do think you could be at the forefront of promoting a larger role for moderators, but much like the book, it requires you first to see yourself as an authority in the field. When it comes to moderating, I feel pretty confident. I don't know everything. I don't know all the answers, but more of that comes around to, like, I know how to use all the tools and I know how to do all the different things when it comes to actually physically moderating. A lot of it comes down to nuance, like what is acceptable by that creator, what's allowable by that creator's standards, you know, and that's where I start to get a bit like wavery, especially if I'm not like the lead mod or the managing mod on that channel. I don't, you know, or I don't have the personal relationship with the creator. I don't always know what's acceptable. And then also, especially if there's like a particular person that's pretty active in the chat usually, and then one day they come in and just in a really bad, foul mood, and you're like, hey, because you don't want to block them because they are actually usually a pretty dependable person in the chat, but they're just having a bad day. There's so many nuances, but yeah, when it comes to the actual how to be a mod, how to like all that sort of side of it, and or how to set up being a mod, how to talk to your creator as a mod, things like that, I think I would consider myself as an authority in the field, not the authority in the field. How does that go? How does that go? Let's have a look at people who let random people become moderators are looking to lose their accounts. I wish I could just pin this right here and hold it on the screen forever. I agree so much. Making someone a moderator is not a reward for attending the stream. It's just not. It's just not. And the sheer number of channels that treat it like it's a reward for attending the stream is appalling. So those people who attend those sorts of streams come into other people's streams where becoming a moderator is not a reward for attending the stream, and it's actually for those people that are working the stream. They don't get it. They don't understand that it's not just for everybody, because their expectations have been changed. It frustrates me. It frustrates me. Fill in the application. We need an application form to be able to send to people. Like, do you want to be a mod on this channel? Where it's like, we're never going to look at this, but cool. No, I have not written the book yet. I've been doing some other things instead these last few weeks. It's not been a good time. Creatively, I'm not doing great. Let's just go with that. That can apply to one-off gigs, expectations. Absolutely. Absolutely. And like, I agree. Get a mini course out, bring some income in. Absolutely. I agree with you. I agree with you. And Doug says, I agree 1000%. I'm assuming that's where being made a mod is not a reward for attending a stream. I think we both are on the same page on that one. Learns live streaming with John says, saying my name when I comment is the reward for attending the stream. Yeah. Like, I know that here we've got a much smaller chat and I'm actually able to get to most of the comments, if not all of them. I know in some streams that they just physically cannot and still do whatever it is the rest of the stream is about. There's just too many people in the chat. And then when they do go in and say hi to a few people, they get buzzed. They're like, oh my gosh, they said my name. And they're allowed to be excited, you know? Like, let them be excited. Livestream consultant says, as a mercenary mod, have a list of rules in one hand and a giant band hammer in the other and not be afraid to use it. Yeah, absolutely. And look, this is the thing. When I'm putting together, like when I'm going to mod for somebody for new, I actually ask a question and the you know, like, what are your rules in your chat? And the number of times they're like, what do you mean? I don't have any rules in my chat. And I'm like, really? You have no rules. And so you need to have a list of rules that like are available for people to see. Now, some people have, I don't know, does everybody still have this, Doug, when somebody comes to your live stream for the first time, they have to agree to the rules? I know that on one of my channels I have that, but not on the other one. So I don't know if it is for everybody, but I really think that, yeah, it's just one of these things. Like, people, there has to be an expectation of behavior in a chat, right? There has to be. And every chat will be different. Every live streamer will be different. Every niche, you know, there'll be different things that are acceptable and are not acceptable. Like, I can't go into a political stream expecting no one to talk about politics. But I can go into a YouTube educator stream and be able to get rid of all the politics talk. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's going to depend on the context of the stream and what that particular streamer around, like, is around. Oh, the chat rules thing is the longest experiment feature ever on YouTube. Okay, so not everybody has it. That's so stupid. like when you verify your channel to be able to live stream, you should have to go in and add in your chat rules. In the same way you show the watch time counter, we're going to need a weekly check-in for the word count on the book. We won't start that just yet. I've got some personal stuff I've got to get done over the next couple of weeks. That's really just it's affecting my brain. I'm organizing my mum's wake, and there's 2 of them, and it's mentally a lot. So yeah. Oh, one channel that gave away mod status like it was a piece of candy is no longer doing anything of substance. Oh, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that that's the case. Like, of course it is. Just got an addition for your book of course, the sample mod application. Like, I like that idea. Like, I'm writing it down. Let's have a look here. I saw the blow up mallets at Carindale. Unfortunately, they were branded. The only ones I've seen are like the Bunnings one that have Bunnings written all over them. And I'm so tempted just to get one anyway and just let my daughter go ham at it and let her like cover up all the branding with spray paint or something. Russell said that I paid close attention to the BBD mods. They just did lives with hundreds, maybe thousands on at one time with chats open. A lot of comments only last about 1 second before deletion. Yeah, I if I am like there's 2 sides to modding. Like so in some chats I'm an active participant in the chat as well as a moderator. Like Nick Nimmons and Justin Brown's, whereas others that I moderate for, I'm not an active participant. So I did some streams where I was the only mod and there were 14,000 people in the chat. I was not an active participant in the chat. I just moderated. So same deal. You go in, you watch every, like basically you're just watching the comments. You've got your mouse there the whole time. You're just like, ready just to click, timeout, click remove comment, click ban user, whatever it is. And just reading every single comment as it like clicks in front of your eyes. It depends on what it is that you're doing and what the expectation is that you're doing and how busy the chat is that you're doing. Couple of PDFs with some of the rules for different types of stream formats. Yeah. Like, and ways to communicate with your streamer while they're live chatting so that it's not obtrusive. Like, absolutely. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. It seems that they had designated folks for each role. Absolutely. If you've got a team of moderators and you can get each person to focus on one thing, then you can just focus on the thing you need to be focused on. Makes a huge difference. Doug and I tend to split duties as such, but we still overlap, if that makes any difference. Like Doug's got other tasks that he has to do at the same time during Nick's streams. And so I'll have a couple of smaller tasks that they're just what I do. So he doesn't even have to think about them because, whereas he's got like, it's just one of those things. It's easier, and it means that we can split the chat and we both can still chat and be active in the chat because we're looking for something particular rather than everything. And saying that, whoever gets the bad things first, everyone's just like, grab that. So yeah. Sometimes you just have to channel your inner Thor. Yes, you do. Mod application. Do you think pineapple should be on pizza? I think that, yes, that would be funny. Yeah, we do. We do that on Nick's stream. We do definitely split some of the tasks for sure. Bam, more content for your book, of course. Russell, there is so much content for my book or course, and that's the problem I'm having, is distilling down to what's actually important for a first thing. So, yeah. Yeah. I think you might have just disqualified yourselves. Really? Maybe you need a journal to put all these ideas into each week. Yeah, look, I think you're right. I think I need to actually have my own separate book for the ideas for my book, rather than just, because I have a notepad and I run one notepad until that notepad's dead, but I date each of the pages. Mind you, I don't have it out today. I just literally have a piece of paper out today. So, but yeah, so you're right. I do need that. It's a lot of pro pineapple sentiment. I know I'm pro pineapple on pizza, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Pineapple belongs on pizza for sure. Leanne says save some for book 2. I think I'd just go with book 1 to start with. I don't know if there will be a book 2, but we'll try for book 1. What's important is to start throwing spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. I agree. There's not too much to edit on a blank page. I agree with you entirely. That's actually one of the things I love about using AI for helping, is I'm better if I don't start with a blank page. So, yeah. I'm definitely better if I don't start with a blank page. I like to just go in and be like, well, I don't like that. Scrub, remove that, delete, word it this other way. I'm better being able to do that rather than like delete that entire paragraph. That's stupid. And then, because it should say this. But in the meantime, my brain couldn't put that paragraph together. But until I read what I didn't want, I'm like, don't want that. And I actually think it's making me a better writer as well, which sounds bizarre. AI is making me a better writer. Like, who would have thought that was possible? Not me. I thought it was going to be one of those things, if you AI to help you with your writing, then you're just going to become a lazy writer. What's the point? AI is going to do it all for you. No, that's not what's happened at all. So it's nearly like I've gamified it in my brain, because what I'll do is I'll get video ideas and stuff like that. Or I need to title things, and I'll run a script through, and in my brain I've already written a title down that I think I would use for that script, and it's like I've gamified it. Like, come on AI, let's see if you can match. I don't know. Is that how we're supposed to use it? We're supposed to try and beat it? I don't know. That's what I've been doing. Yeah, definitely pro pineapple. Sorry, John. I don't know if that was bad or not. Russell says the way I do it is start with a chapter outline. Hang on, get away from there. Start with a chapter outline, then focus on one at a time until I have a first draft, then walk away for a bit and come back and refine. And I think you're right there. I think that's a very important thing, is sometimes we have to walk away or go and do something else or whatever it is. Step away from the screen. Go and do something for a while, even overnight, and then come back at it with fresh eyes. And I think that's really important to remember, is that you can't just sit down and write a book and publish. It's like, done. No, you need to come back and you need to reread it. Oh, you mean for a few days? So I was just thinking even one day, but yeah, absolutely. I think at least a day. But yeah, even a few days. So, but yeah, my creative juices haven't been flowing very well over the last few weeks. So, I've just been having to put things on the shelf. So I've been making a list of things to do as my brain starts kicking back in, and I'm slowly starting to get some of the easier stuff. So I feel like I'm starting to come back a little bit, but I'm not where I need to be for some things, for sure. I'm very, what's the word where it's, my brain's just totally quit on me. Split focused, where it's always happening in the back of my mind, where I'm always thinking about something else when I should be focusing on this. Anyway, that is where my brain's been. So I've been trying to do tasks that don't require everything. So I've been very lucky. creators, I contacted them and I was like, hey, look, I need some work here that and I was really specific. I was just like, that nobody's relying on, like, that if I need to step back for a day and just not do anything, but then come back at it. So like no one's waiting on the next step and the next step and the next step. If you've got some of that I can just focus into and just do when I can do it, I would absolutely love to do that. And they found something for me. It was perfect. And so, yeah, it's been really good for helping me to get my brain back on track as well, which is really great. You need to get it completely out of your head before coming back to it, or you'll not have a fresh viewpoint. Absolutely. Absolutely. And usually for me, I'm that person that if I don't see something, I've forgotten it exists, if that makes any sense. Like, I need to keep things like physically around me, which really bugs my husband. Otherwise I forget things exist. Oh yeah, I forgot I bought that waffle maker that I've never made waffles with. Livestream Consultant says, it will just take a little bit of time and we've got you covered on our end. We'll be your guinea pigs. Absolutely. I will need guinea pigs for sure. I'll be like, okay, I have a draft. Please get out your red pens. So yeah, I'm not ready for the red pens at this stage. Let's just say that, not ready for the red pens. Oh, lots going on, and it was all very sudden. So very sudden, very unexpected, very shocking. So shocking to the system. But yeah. Have you ever heard of monetize before you make it? It seems to ring a bell. It seems to ring a bell. Oh dear. Look, I think I'd be more comfortable with monetize before you make it for like a course or something than a book. If that makes any sense. Because like, what happens if I write the book and it's just awful and I decide not to publish it and then I owe all these people $1? So, but yeah. I will just do it. Just not this week. Not this week and probably not for a couple of weeks. I've got some things to focus on. So I'll get those done first and get them finished and finalized. All right. Well, one way or another, we're going to make waffles after this. That's right. I've got a waffle line. I did see, I saw fleeting past how a waffle is supposed to be. Can you please put that back in the chat? Was it supposed to be soft in the middle and crispy on the outside? Because the only ones I've had are the pre-made ones from the store that are like crunchy, which they were nice, but they were crunchy all the way through. Or I've had one, where did I get it? It was actually I had a waffle in the USA. It was, what's that place that has the crazy big breakfasts with all the things and the apple butter in the little containers and coffee, and I had grits for the first time, and what was it? It wasn't Waffle House, it was something else. It was across the road from IHOP. I remember that. It might have been Waffle House, you know. Let me just Google it. I'll be able to look at it. Oops. It was Waffle House. It was Waffle House. Now that I'm looking, yes, it was. And I had a Waffle House breakfast. I wouldn't say nearby. We were in a car for I don't know how long. It wasn't too far. And they were on opposite sides of like the motorway highway. I don't know. I'll find out details and send it to you. But yeah. It'll look like Van Gogh once we're done with it. Like with all the scribbles and the drawings. Thank you. Every time I see waffles, I think of Donkey and Shrek. We can do it as a mini course using M MBYMI and validate the content. And then if you rather a course over a book, you can use the materials for the book. By the way, books don't make squat compared to courses. That's good information. Thank you. Hang on, Command Shift 5. I'm just gonna steal that. Save it for later so I can reread it. But yeah, so I had the waffle from Waffle House and it was soft. It was not crispy. It was all soft. So maybe I got a bad Waffle House waffle. I don't know. But I actually, Russell, I like that idea of putting all the data together and then working out which way is better. I do. Next time, get the chicken and waffle meal with maple syrup. It's the bomb. I hear you guys as in Americans, talk about chicken and waffles, and I can't get my head around it. It took me a long time to be able to have bacon with pancakes because they don't go together. It took me a long time to get, and now I'm like, bacon with everything, so I don't care. But yeah, it took me a long time to get around that one. So I don't know if I'm ready for chicken and waffles, because I think of waffles for breakfast. Is chicken and waffles a breakfast food, or is it like a lunchtime food or an any time kind of food? I don't know. Doug says, I make my own KFC now. My mum used to make what we would call mummy fried chicken, but it tasted very KFC to us back in the day. I may need that recipe also, Doug. Just throwing it out there. Are you oven baking or deep frying? Because that's the other thing. I would prefer to oven bake, I think. But I also understand if you want it crispy and good, you probably need to deep fry it. Although I have an air fryer, so maybe the air fryer. John says, when I think about American food, I think about Oprah and Gail going to the Texas County Fair and having deep fried butter. Really? See, I can't get over like at the Chinese restaurants here in Australia. I don't know if it's really a thing, but we do it in Australia where they have the deep fried ice cream. I tried it once and it was awful. But I was then told by one, because I had a couple of spoons of it and I was like, oh, this is not. And then a friend of mine who had had it a lot, they tried it and went, yeah, this is bad. So I think I had a bad one. But that's the only one I've had. So, let's have a look here. Russell says, I have a paperback, a Kindle book, and several courses. Profit on one course sale equals 7 Kindle sales and 12 paper book sales. Okay. Yep. Livestream consultant says, it's a chicken breast without skin wrapped in a Waffle House waffle with a little maple syrup and you'll never go back. Okay. That's not what I thought it was. For some reason I was thinking a piece of fried chicken just on the top of it. But it seems like they've actually made it into a dish. Okay. Deep fry, but I reckon air fry would work. Possibly. I used to like deep fried ice cream when I could eat carbs. By the way, publishing the paper cost me $1,200. So I was thinking like doing what a lot of other people have recently doing, which is do the Amazon publishing thing, which I have not looked into, which I need to. Is that a payment up front, or is that just you pay as they print the book? I've got a couple of people I've got listed down to give a call to and chat to, people who I know that have written books and published through Amazon. So I'll have I figure it's one of those things, like maybe I should write some of the book before I start worrying about how I'm going to publish it. Or do I need to worry about how I'm going to publish it before I write it? Like, I don't know. Is it the chicken before the egg? Oh, goodness me. But yes, it's a tough one. So far, all I have is ideas for what I want covered in each chapter, sort of like a, Oh, Stanley Orchard, hello. How are you? How how much of this chat have you caught? Chicken before the waffle. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so all I've got so far is just some chapter outlines of what I want to make sure I cover. And then a couple of extra things of, you know, if I haven't waffled on forever, then can I add in some extra things? So, yeah, one of those things. Stanley is in the house. Absolutely. Stanley, who is our latest book author. Stanley Orchard, How to Grow on YouTube. Go Stanley. It is awesome. I'm loving it. I'm about through first chapter. No, let me look. I'm up to the shorts video bit, but I haven't read it yet. But I'm up to the Stanley's book, his new book. So, but I'm really enjoying the writing style. So, let me just, but yeah, you should go and find it. But I was going to talk to Stanley. Stanley was one of the people I was going to talk to. Stanley and Roberto and a couple of the others that I know that are using Amazon. That's awesome. I'll admit I'm terrified to hear the reviews. Well, I'm getting there. Like, my brain's not in like a taking in information stage at the moment, but I'm trying to get in there. And I'm enjoying the writing style. So that's actually really helping me a lot. Just jumping in, playing catch up. Awesome. Haha, pun intended. Waffling. It was one of those things where it was just like, I had to think, I'm like, am I going to use that? Yeah, I'm going to use that word because it's the right word. We're trying to get Chantelle on the writing stick for her book, Mercenary Modding. Yeah, they really are. They're working very hard at it. The only reason I know to do a book over a course is validation of your authority in the field. Books are very hard to promote. I can see that. That would be very hard. Yeah, and getting it into the right hands for the right people to talk for them to talk about it. Yeah, I definitely understand it. Definitely. Mercenary modding, that sounds sick. Yep. That's a working title. I don't know if we're going to go with it. But yeah, I like it. It's fun. It makes it fun. So, yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things, doing it for the money. The cover art. Oh my gosh, yeah, that was a bit of fun. My life with the band hammer. You guys are awesome. Livestream consultants sent me like alternate covers, and yeah, I'm like, no. But they are fun. Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. Far out. Now my face hurts, and I'm out of coffee. I have to have water. Ugh. Share it. I don't think I've got the phone screen share set up here. Hang on a second. I'll see if I can. Give me 1 second while I find the settings I need. All right. So first things first, I need to find the comments. Chris. Chris, you've sent me a lot of stuff over the last few months. There's lots to scroll through. Where is it? Did we send it in Instagram? Or do I just have to keep scrolling back? There's so many GIFs. There's so many that I wanted to use and I couldn't find. Come on. I think it was this far back. All right, I'll have to dig it out, but I can't stop that. I can't seem to find the actual images that you made for me. Lots of GIFs though, but I'll have to have a look. I am, and screenshotting them, and also, I will be I rewatch the streams. I feel amiss. I wish I'd been hanging out in this group before I wrote my book. My cover art is rough. I like your cover art. I think it's, I mean, I'm a bit biased to the pink and blues, I will say. I'm a bit of a fan of that. And I like that it's I like the information it gives, because it's like how to grow on YouTube, and then you've got your graph going up. And so I like it. I think it works. I don't think it's inappropriate. I don't like as in not appropriate for the content. But yeah. Oh, and they do. Yeah, for printing stuff, the resolution required is insane. It was a Canva link. I did see the Canva link. Hang on a second. Instagram, where was that? I did see Canva links and I just saw it was just Canva. All right, here we go. All right, let me just see if I can no, I don't want that. Dum. I had the wrong cord plugged in, so it's trying to. Oh, I need a USB-C cord. Where's a USB-C cord when you need one? That one's lightning. USB-C cord. There we go. Now I just plug it in. I don't know if this cord's enough. I do trust my computer. Alrighty, so I've got that there. The cord's not good enough. Oh, this is so crazy. It's being a bum. So let me just hang on, I'll just go back here. I wanted to do it the technical way and I can't make it work. So let's just stop that, go away. That was the first one. Building the band hammer, mercenary modding for live streaming. This is the one that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I get it. Mercenary modding. Oh dear, they're a lot of fun. You can send me a release form if you want to use my title. My life with the band hammer. I had to go back and check which title was yours. They're a bit of fun. I think I would go a different path. I'm gonna be honest. I think I would go down a different path, but I get it. They are a bit of fun. I went with the pink or blue because there weren't many like that when I started. It was all red and white. Yeah, and they are. Like, that's the thing. Like, if I look over here, right? Sponsor magnet. Red and white. YouTube secrets. Red and white. Create something awesome. Red and yellow. Oh, everything's going to fall down. The YouTube formula. Red and white. What else I've got? Live streaming made easy. Kevin Kyle, we went blue. But there's a bit of red because we've got the YouTube. We've got to have the YouTube logo. But he went blue and that really stands out. There we go. That one was good. And then Tube Ritual. Brian G is hilarious. I asked him to sign my book. So he's written, I know him. And then signed it. But again, a bit different. Still lots of red. Still bits of red. But I like that it's different. And I think these two stand out the most in my bookshelf because they're not the standard red and white. So now we've got this guy as well, and he stands out because he's not red and white. So I think it's a good thing. On some reading, back on the top. No, back on the top. Okay. Let me have a look here. Who buys books on a bookshelf? What do you mean? I understand. That means the world to me, and dang it, I'm honored to be sharing company with these guys. Yeah. Yeah. Oops, I forgot one. I'm gonna go back to. Oh, that's not good. I'll put it. I'll deal with it later. I'll deal with it later. My books, my hats fell down. I saw the coolest hat storage the other day, and I'm like, I need to go and buy that. Because I love my caps, and they need somewhere to hang so that I can just easily grab one when I want to wear it, but also store them nicely. Yeah, what do you mean by who buys books on a shelf? And most people who go into a bookstore buy books off a shelf. So I don't know. I don't understand. I buy books in bookstores all the time. I love book shopping. I own quite a few books. Probably, we don't have a bare wall in our house that doesn't have a bookshelf on it. I love to read. So yeah, it makes hanging art really hard because I also like art. So basically we have to get skinny, small art because the only spaces that don't have bookshelves on it are too small for bookshelves. Why do you care what a book looks like on the bookshelf? You have bookstores that future mods might visit. Well, I don't know. Like, you're right there. Most mods are probably going to buy the book online. True. But if you still want it to stand out, it's like you said, you got to think about it like a thumbnail. If you make all the YouTube books red and white, then it's not going to stand out. They're going to scroll through the books thinking it's just exactly the same as the next thing. It'd be like if everyone did Mr. Beast thumbnails and no one did anything differently, everything would blend in and you wouldn't know that there was actually a pile of different creators all making Mr. Beast thumbnails because you were just looking at the thumbnails. It's the same logic. No one I know in America goes to bookstores. Really? Lots of my friends and I love going to bookstores. But I suppose it depends on the circles you're in. Yeah. I love bookstores. I could spend hours walking around in bookstores, looking at books, budgeting how many I can actually take home. That's the catch. I can look at all the books, but I can't buy all the books I want to buy. Money as well as space. Although I have seen these really cool things, which obviously no one in America will care about because they don't go to bookstores, is these things that are like little steps so you can put one row of books up and one row of books down so you can still see the spines of the books at the back. Also, a big difference between what a highly known author can get away with versus, well, I wouldn't say relatively unknown. I would say unknown. Untested, unknown. There's going to be a big difference. Absolutely. For sure. So, yeah, there's definitely going to be hurdles. And will I be able to surmount them all? Probably not. Probably not. But I'm going to try anyway. One of my crowning achievements, my daughter will read a book will read a book. My daughter will read a book at the bookstore so she doesn't have to add to the stack of books she buys. Always either on eBay or Amazon. I buy a lot of books on Amazon now, but I still hit my local bookstore at the Hyperdome and buy books there. So, like, especially like for my creator books, they're not in my bookstores, so I tend to get those online. We know you. You're not unknown. Okay, so relatively unknown is probably correct then. But yeah, it's look, I feel like we're a little bit further down the track than like I haven't written the book yet. I'm not worried about cover art. Do you have a typewriter too? No, I don't. I did. I don't anymore. So yeah, it's definitely, I think we're a little further down the track. I think I probably need to read the book and reread it a few times before I'm ready for looking at cover, like making any cover art decisions, making any, where it's going to be sold decisions, things like that. I think I'm a long, long way from any of that. The mobile key. I don't think the mobile keyboard's meant for anybody, Stanley. I really don't. I don't think it's meant for anyone. I think I would like to know, does anybody have the tip of their finger that is, especially the iPhone keyboard? That's probably been one of my big peeves in changing from Android to iPhone. Is on Android I was able to do this thing where I could make my keyboard bigger, so I could actually hit the letter of the alphabet I wanted. I can't do that on an iPhone. Short of making everything bigger. I just want the keyboard bigger. I just want to resize the keyboard. I don't want to resize the whole screen. Just the keyboard. Can't do that on an iPhone, apparently. Anyway, ranting about iPhones was not the intention of today's live stream. Mind you, like, how we stayed on topic for a bit. We solved the tube spanner thing. I showed where I stuffed it up. That was the intention of today's stream. Done that. Don't have the t-shirt. Been there, done that, but don't have the t-shirt. Should probably get a t-shirt. You'd probably be surprised how quickly you can publish on Amazon KDP once you understand the process. Yeah, I don't understand the process. So I've got a lot of learning to do. There's a lot of learning I need to do, as well as writing. The writing needs to happen at some stage. And more than just a few bullet points and rough ideas, I need to dig in. I think that needs to happen first. But I also like Russell's idea of writing it all out and then deciding which way to go, because I actually think I could go both. I could have both. I think that once I've sat down and, worked it all out, I think it could be both a book and a course. But I'll have to wait and see how I go with the writing and getting the ideas from in here into the computer. So yeah, I've got some ways to go. Russell says, I like my iPhone. I'm surprised at how well I do on the phone keyboard. That is awesome. I am still struggling, and I was never great. I'm like queen of the typos. I expect my family just to translate. I'm like, did you not work out what I meant by the context of the rest of the sentence? But apparently the answer is no. But yeah, so I was always, pretty but one of the pet peeves I have is I will type out a word. I will look at it. I'll be like, yes, that is exactly the spelling of something that I want. I will hit space. It will change the word to something else. And you just be like, I typed it out. I checked it. Back, retype it. Does make me a little bit insane. I like a book that gets folks started and a course that takes them further. See, I like that idea too. I like that. Create a mercenary mod survival guidebook. I love how you're naming everything here. It's so cool. More like 10 or 20 page pamphlet style to start. Look, one of the things I'll say, and it's the case for both Stanley and for Kevin Colby's books, the books don't have to be the size of Daryl's book. Daryl's book is is insanely full of stuff. It is detailed and awesome. But I don't, because I'm just like Daryl's book and some of the others, they cover a vast array of things. I'm covering a specific topic. My book doesn't need to be 400 pages. So, and I'm also a little bit of a fan of a bit of white space. Like not a ton, but I like clear delineation between paragraphs. And I know that means that the book will take extra pages to print and what have you, but I read books better than when they're like that. So there'll be a bit of that as well. So, but yeah, there's differences between like a really big book of detailed data and analysis and deep diving on so many topics versus I'll be deep diving on one topic. Oh man, it doesn't help that I can't see close up and I need glasses and I can't see what I'm typing. You need to go to the optometrist. Go and get glasses, man. Life-changing. Life-changing to be able to read what you're writing, honestly. Oh, absolutely. Daryl brought so much expertise into his book, for sure. Absolutely. But my point being, I'm not going to wait until I've got another 10 years under my belt before I'm going to write it. So mine will be smaller and about different stuff. So mine is more of a how-to. Look, I like this. I like this survival guidebook. Margins to write notes into yourself as you read the material. Look, I get that people like to do that, but I couldn't think of anything worse than defacing a book. I don't even like writing my name on the inside cover. Getting books autographed is about the only thing that I do in a book. I'm not a highlighter or an underliner. I'll handwrite entire notes of information out of the book into another book and make a companion book for that book where I've done all of that. But I'm like, this is a book. And I think it was because of how I was brought up. Like, books need to be looked after and cherished. They are not for scribbling in. So, you know, and that was from a little kid, obviously, don't scribble in books. But as I got older, my brain was just like, pens don't belong in books. But it's your book and you get to decide what you're doing with it. My life down under wielding the van hammer. I don't know if I want to be that specific. I will say there are some definite, definite both advantages and disadvantages of being in a different time zone than most of the creators that I do work for. When they stream at night, it's cool for me because it's the middle of my day, so that's great. But when they're streaming in the morning, it is the middle of the night for me. So like Nick's streams start at 11 p.m. and then when the time zone shift, they start at midnight. So during summer, if there's like a Nick stream and then followed by a Daryl stream, or when it was a StreamYard stream over with Daniel and Dee, I would quite literally be going to bed when the sun was coming up and the birds were singing. So yeah, it's, you know, it's that thing. It's my hopes that mine get written all over. I destroyed my author copies. I mark up all manner of books. They are for knowledge acquiring. See, I love that we have different ideas. I love that we have different ideas about this. Most of the streams of people in my world happen at 3 a.m. my time, and I'll always be asleep. Old man needs sleep. And this is the difference. So when I'm planning on being at a stream for work, I will have a nana nap in the afternoon. My family know I'm working that night, and that's how I think about it. I'm working. I'm not just attending a stream. I'm not just watching a stream. If I'm watching a stream at 3 a.m. that I'm not working, then there's something wrong with my brain, because usually I would also be asleep. But if I'm working, I'll have a nana nap in the afternoon, and I'll get myself so that I'm awake and alert for the stream. But if I'm not working the stream, or if I'm not being paid to work a stream, or, you know, like it's just a social thing, I'm not a moderator or anything, it'll be very, very hard for me to focus that hard. Let me see. Another piece of content is how you got into this. Yeah, I like that. Because you're right. The stories are what make it for some people. The finding out how you get into it, and as a lot that is actually already a topic, is how you get to become a moderator for people. Like, you don't just walk up going, "Hey, make me a moderator." Walk into a chat, "I want to be a moderator, make me a moderator," because that just doesn't work. Well, not seriously. Stanley says the time zone stuff is so rough. Had to do midnight meetings at TubeBuddy when Judah was in Thailand. It sucked, but we got through. Yeah, it does suck. It does suck. But like, as long as you've got like for a start, I've always lived in Australia, so the reality is, if I want to work in this industry, I have to accept that this is part of the cost. You know, I may not have to commute. I may not have to, you know, catch the train to work an hour a day or anything like that. But the cost is I need to be awake when these streams are on. That's the cost. And you have to make that decision. Is that a cost you're willing to pay? It's just like, you know, if you're a parent and you've got to go to work and your kids have got to go in daycare, you know, like, is that a cost that you can, that you're willing to pay? You have to make the decisions. You can't make it. No one can make it for you. Livestream Consultant says novels are different. They are for autographs if appropriate. Yeah. Stanley says, I'm a morning guy. I don't do midnight well. See, I'm definitely a night owl, and I'm best between about 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. Get me much after 1 a.m. and I need to have had a nana nap to make it through. Russell says, not to mention gaining authority legitimately, relating your association and acceptance with mainly highly respected professionals already in the field. I've been very, very lucky that I have gotten to work with some very, very cool people. Very cool people. Doug, did you leave? When did you leave? Why did your washing machine break again? My normal day is 4 a.m. to 11 a.m. Oh my gosh, see your candle at both ends burning away. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot. I'm more of a 7. My alarm goes off at 7 every day. I prefer to start start at 10, but I wake up at 7, and then I go through to about 11 or 12. I'm sure I've lost many opportunities because of my time zone, but I did one interview at 11 p.m. at night and my brain was so frightened. Yeah, I did an interview at midnight, and I agree with you. I wasn't prepared for it. I was so underprepared for that interview, partly because I didn't know it was an interview. I thought it was just a touching base kind of thing. Turned out it was an interview. But yeah, that one was a bit full on. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd be really, really, really lucky if that could happen. Something along those lines. That would be amazing. I also wouldn't expect it. Like, that's the sort of thing. It's like I just wouldn't. But yeah, I would be very lucky. If you're doing those hours forever, oh my gosh. It's my way of life unless I'm sick. See, I can't get up at 4 unless there's a reason. If I need to travel or something like that, I can get up, I can get moving, I can do what I need to do. But I can't do that every single day. I would have to stab somebody. I couldn't. I'd be like, why? My husband's a get up early person. My daughter and I, not so much. Not so much. Okay. All right. Well, my family have had to be, they're both home today. My husband's having an RDO and my daughter doesn't have a shift, and they've had to be very quiet during all of this because we have very thin walls. Our home is not designed for me to stream in one of the rooms when everybody's home. So I'm going to, I'll hang up. Before I run away, I have to read these comments. You'll be foolish if, oh, I would absolutely ask. I would ask, but I would also not take it personally if they declined. Oh, actually, I probably would take it personally just for a minute, but I would understand. I would understand if they declined. I really would. But I would ask for sure, because you're right. They might well be. I know one that probably would be offended if I didn't. But yeah, I've got a few different names of people that could help out there. I have a 6:30 a.m. alarm on the days I don't have it on. I discover how much extra sleep I probably need. I don't put alarms on the weekends. Definitely no alarm on Sunday because I don't go to bed till like at least 2 a.m. on a Saturday night. So no alarms on a Sunday. I'm just thinking if I do on a Saturday. I was at one stage because on Saturday mornings, there was because I'm in the Can Do Creator, what do you call that? Not just the Can Do Creator Discord, but the Andrew Cairns members group for Can Do, right? So I'm in that, and they would have calls just about every Saturday for the because I was in one of the higher tiers. And so you would have like every second week would be the mid-tier call, which the high tiers could attend. And then you'd have the high tier call. And so I would have those every Saturday, but they got moved to Sundays and I can't do them on Sundays. I cannot be awake at 7 o'clock on a Sunday after going to bed at somewhere between 2 and 4. So yeah, my son, I would have to drag out of bed with a tank at those. Oh, my daughter, when she was at school, I literally felt like I had to use a crowbar to get her out of bed to go to school. The one thing that universally precedes a major achievement is fear. I agree with that. Yeah. If I don't set an alarm, I still wake up at 5 a.m. at the latest. Oh my gosh. In saying that, I have an alarm that wakes up that I have at 7 o'clock every day. But if I'm not already awake by sort of 6:30, 6:45, it is surprising when I wake up to the alarm. But it's like my body knows the alarm's going to go off. You might as well just get up. Or you can lay there and read for a while, which I also do that too. Especially this morning, it was cold. Having an argument with my family, all right? I need you to weigh in, okay? You're going to have to do some converting because I don't know what it was. But it was 4 degrees in my house overnight and this morning. And when I got up, my husband had been up for a couple of hours and he had not put the heating on. And I was a little bit grumpy about that. Like, if this is not cold enough for the heat, in our subtropical temperatures where we normally have more like 30 degrees, when will it be cold enough? So, yeah, so if it seems frightening, you're onto something big. Yeah, it is frightening. It is frightening. I usually wake up before the alarm goes off. At least I get to make the coffee the way I like it. All our coffees are individual cups, so we all get to make our coffee the way we like. We don't do the pot of coffee here. My dripulator actually died. I had to throw it away. I don't have a dripulator. So yeah. That's a very generic YouTube handle there. We'll keep an eye on that one. So yeah. Yeah, see, I agree. I think that's cold enough, right? I should be allowed to have the heat. But anyway, apparently not. Alarms? What's that? Like an alarm clock in the morning to wake you up. It's 36. Like, right, we've definitely warmed up since this morning. The sun came out, made a big difference. It's now 16 or nearly 17. Feels like 13 C. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. 13 C to F is 55. It's currently 55 here. And the sun's out and the sun is beating. It's very nice. But yeah, it's definitely warmed up because it was, when I woke up, it was 4, which is 39 Fahrenheiters. So yeah. It was brisk out there with the breeze. Yeah, it's definitely a bit cool. Why? I get up when I wake up, the joy of being self-employed. Well, Russell, I've got a 9 o'clock live stream on a Monday. I've got client meetings on I will say that some of the client meetings that I have, which I absolutely appreciate, is I have them in their afternoon, which makes it my morning. So they're 8 a.m. my time, but they're like, you know, 4 in the afternoon, 3 or 4 in the afternoon for them. So it means that I still get to have a full night's sleep, but I just have to get up a little bit early. So yeah. John says it's 11 degrees here, 51 Fahrenheit. So I had to break out the heater. Yeah. Live stream consultant says it's 97 where they are. Let me just 97. So that's 36. So that's summer. Is it? Yeah, it'd be summer for you. Yeah. So that's hot. That's hot. One thing I do like about winter is it's nowhere near as humid as summer. Like we have like 80, 90% humidity most of the time during summer and spring. But in winter we don't get the humidity, and I just love that. Well, nowhere near the humidity anyway. Maybe a couple of percents, but nothing scary. Russell says, I can appreciate the time difference. I admit I set a few alarms for Justin's calls when I was in PVA. Yeah. And that's the sort of thing. It's just like, if you need to be at something, then yes, you'll set an alarm. But if you get to like just run your day however you want to run your day, you don't need to set an alarm. Oh, here we go. All right, this is a serious question for you. What is the preferred time to watch live streams in Aussie land? Look, it's like anything. It's going to come down to the individual channel and the individual audience. I run my Fiberific live streams, which is predominantly to an Australian audience, at 10 a.m. on a Thursday. 10 a.m. seems to be a good time. However, I've been running that stream at the same bat time, same bat station now for about 8 years. People are used to it being at that time, and I think that works. But the reason I chose that time is that while it's mid-morning in Australia, if you're not working, if you're working, you miss out, or you just listen sneaky while you're at work. But otherwise, Australians are at work, and so you need to have the Australians. If your audience have day jobs, you need to work around that as well. If you want them to be active participants in your stream, I hate to say it, the question is, it depends. It depends. Yeah, it depends on who your audience is and who you're trying to attract. And like most of the people that I have in my streams are people who are retired, working for themselves, or working from home, or stay-at-home mums. That's usually the group that I've got in my streams. But you have to think about who your audience is. But yeah, there's no set in stone time that works for everybody. It's going to come down to your audience. And also you do have to think about your preferences a little bit. And for me, I don't want my Thursday streams to be too early in the morning. So I made them 10. I don't know why I made this one 9. I'd prefer it if it was at 10 too, but it's 9. So that's where it's staying. John says, I can really only watch today because it's a public holiday here. Normally I'm at work. Yeah. And that's a big thing. We're really lucky that Doug can join in on the Mondays, because he's usually, like, he has a day job as well. So really lucky that Doug can join in. And John, I really appreciate you jumping in. I totally forgot about the public holiday. And that's why my husband took today off, because the rest of the team he works for is on public holiday, because it is not a public holiday here in Queensland. John says, my brain works best in the morning, so I do Saturday mornings Australian time, but it's a bit of a nightmare for the US EU times. Yeah, and that's the thing. You've got to just you've got to work out what works best for you, what works best for the majority of your audience, and try and find a middle ground somewhere. For me personally, 10 a.m. Any day. Anything before 10 a.m. and I'm a bit like, oh, have I had time for the coffee to filter through? Probably not. But anyway, in saying that, my friends, I really do have to run. I very much appreciate your time. Again, for coming in and hanging out. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to rectify last week's wrongs. and sorting out what we had done. And I hope you have an awesome week and you get something done. Go and get something done, even if it's much needed rest. And I'm looking at you, Home Rapid Repair. You need to rest up and look after yourself. The rest of us, we just need to work hard, you know. Sorry, no, I'm kidding. All right, I will catch you all here next week and around the traps of the interwebs on YouTube for the rest of the week. Have an awesome one. Bye now.